So that comes back. There's this Zen Buddhist principle of nothing special, where once you've achieved something, it's not as special as it was before you had achieved it.
Hmm.
And the things that the things that you've achieved now, I'm sure that when you were younger, they were absolutely unimaginable, totally the pinnacle of achievement and life for you, like becoming a U Sport athlete. I know that was really important to you, and being into
Totally.
Canada West, and like going on to do MCAT and become a doctor, and now you're on the path to those things. And I'm sure you don't think about being a U Sport athlete as something unbelievably special every single day the way that you would have if you were able to tell your younger self. I'm sure she would have totally lost her mind. But now that
Mhm.
you've achieved it, you're like, yeah, it just is what it is.
Yeah, and it's so interesting the way we do that. I was talking to someone about that in the context of climbing in the day. If I forget what grade they were climbing, like a V6, V7, which is like a chart of like how difficult a boulder is.
Mhm.
And they were like, yeah, like V6 just seems like so unapproachable. And then like when I've done a V6 climb in my head, I'm like, oh, like that couldn't have been that hard. Like a V6 can't be that hard if like I could do it. So we kind of do have that tendency of minimizing our success or like minimizing how cool something is. But yeah, I would totally agree. Like I was talking to one of my relatives the other day about when I was 16 and 17 and how important recruiting had been to me and how playing that post-secondary level was everything. And yeah, now once you've done like 5 years of it, obviously it is really cool and it is something that I'm going to miss. But it's interesting how much your mindset shifts a little bit into the next goals and the next pathway that seems, I don't know, at times like being a U Sport athlete felt unachievable. So now like going to med school or whatever just seems like a huge goal. But it's interesting how your perspective changes and how you want different things as you get older.
Yeah, I remember you and I talked about it a few years ago now. It was the idea of achieving one day, and how there was this idea that like everyone strives to achieve this one day where they're 40 years old, their mortgage is paid off, they have their kids, and then they're going to be happy. And it's
Hmm.
always this striving for something that's farther away rather than living in the moment. And Joseph Campbell explains this really well, just the idea of eternity being now. Like eternity isn't a the entire space-time continuum, but it's the moment right now, because that goes on for forever.
Hmm.
And that is eternity, is being in the moment right now. And you and I talked about that a lot, and how people consistently look towards one day to be happy and push off the moment consistently to achieve
Hmm.
that one day. And then once you get to one day, you look around and go, this isn't everything that I was looking for, and now I want something
Hmm.
else. There's always something more. And there's a real importance to having an ability to live within a moment.
Totally. And just finding joy in like what you're doing at that point, to build off of your point of, yeah, I don't think I did that, especially my first 2 years. It was always like, oh my gosh, like I'm just like, can't wait to get to Christmas break. And then I can't wait to have the year done. They were still like awesome years, but I think I didn't find like gratitude and I didn't find joy in what I was doing at that time, which was getting me to my goals, or so I thought. And I think as I've gotten further in my degree, my classes, my labs, whatever it is, just feels so less overwhelming. And I don't know if it's, I mean, I don't think it's because the subject matter has gotten any easier or the workload has gotten any less, but I think it's just a result of me like enjoying the day to day or consciously trying to like find things that I'm grateful for throughout the day as I'm working towards that big goal. Because yeah, like you said, when you get there, there's always going to be something you want more. Like, um, an example, I have a crap car right now that opens, one door opens. Um,
Of all four
and
doors.
pardon?
Of all four
Four
doors.
doors, I know.
Wow.
And barely works in the winter, but I had to give myself a little bit of perspective because even the past 4 years I haven't had a car, and I was always thinking like, oh, how convenient would it be to be able to drive myself everywhere? And then like a couple of months after having this car, which has been like such a blessing in my life, and I've been able to do so much more, I'm like already complaining about it. So yeah, I think it's like human nature a little bit to always want more than you have or always be looking for the next step.